Okay, how to assign MIDI in Ableton Live. Open your preferences. The bottom of the screen here, you should see your MIDI device, if it's plugged in and switched on, displayed as with its relevant MIDI ports. Make sure that all of your track and remote tabs are on. Bear in mind, this is the simple explanation of how this works. Don't worry about the detail at this stage. For the purpose of this demonstration, I recommend that you select value scaling as the takeover mode. Again, you need to read about that or ask me another question. To confirm that your device is being connected and is being recognized, all you need to do now is move faders, knobs, press buttons on your controller, and you'll see in the top right corner here a little yellow light will flash indicating that messages are being received by Live from your control device. Result. Okay. Now close your preferences window. Hit the MIDI button in the top right corner. Everything goes blue. Okay. Everything that is blue can be assigned to a MIDI controller. A simple example of this will be track 1 here, audio 1, the volume fader. If I click on that, you can see that it's been highlighted by the little corner cursors. All I need to do now is move a fader on my MPD or any other MIDI device, and I can see that it's been assigned by the small number that appears at the top. Don't worry about the detail, but that little number there indicates that it has been assigned to the controller. In the MIDI mappings window here, I can also see that assignment. Okay, now all I have to do now is click MIDI to disable MIDI mode, and if I move that fader, I can see that that fader now directly controls the volume on audio track 1. Simple as that. Okay. For a little more detail on this and some points to be aware of, when you're in MIDI mode, MIDI map mode, whichever is the controller that you moved last on your MIDI device will be the one that's assigned to that parameter. If I go back to the volume fader on audio 1, if I move fader 1, it assigns it this number, MIDI channel 1, control 20. If I move the second fader, that number jumps up to 21. The third fader, 22. The fourth fader, 23. Essentially, every button, knob and fader on your control device has a different control number, and this number enables you to see, once you've learned them, which control is assigned to which parameter. But as I said, whichever is the last one you moved is the one that will be assigned. So be careful that between assigning a control and deactivating MIDI mode you don't accidentally hit another control. Otherwise that parameter will be assigned to that other random control, and you'll end up with some very funny things happening when you try to modify your Ableton set. Just briefly, I can go along the line here and assign these to different controls. I can assign these sends to different controls, and every time I make a new assignment I can see in the MIDI mappings area here that assignment in detail. The MIDI channel, the control number, the path, where exactly this parameter is, what the parameter is called, and the two very useful functions here for setting the minimum and maximum value. Just to quickly demonstrate that, this first one here is the track volume for audio 1. If I set the minimum to -6 or thereabouts, you can type directly into there, and the maximum to 0, and then disable the MIDI map mode, that fader, as you can see on track 1, even if I move it the full range on the control device, will only go between 0 and -6. Now you can work out the various uses for this yourself. I'm sure it's pretty obvious. That's pretty much it as far as basic MIDI mapping is concerned. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask.